Welcome to Uncaged. Today we're speaking with Ali Safavi. Ali is the founder, president, and CEO of Grenova. And I think, we're going to talk a lot about green technology, sustainable business, sustainable entrepreneurship, biotech innovation, really all the things that Ali's focused on at Grenova. Ali, tell me a little bit about yourself and your career.
Yeah, so my background is engineering, and shortly after get the engineering degree in biomedical engineering, I started working in the industry in automation, lab automation fields, and I was part of the company that was rapidly growing, and I see the automation was being adopted across the industry. But one thing I noticed the labs are implementing more automations to process more samples, I quickly recognized that there is an ongoing plastic waste being produced as the industry is scaling, and start seeing that it's not a sustainable model to practice forever. So I started looking for solutions, and unfortunately, found out that we are treating plastic as something that it's definitely will always be there, and we just fill up the landfill, and that's not a problem. Which to me, that was a big hole in the practice. So with that said, kind of once you discover the hole and cannot sleep at night until that hole is fixed and you have a solution for it, it got me to where I am today, which led me to go to the business school, put a business plan together, and go through the entrepreneurship journey and make life quite exciting. But I'm glad see the results based on where Grenova is today, and celebrate it.
Yeah, and we'll go into Grenova a little bit more. I read that Grenova has already eliminated over 1.2 billion pipette tips, equivalent to over 2.6 million pounds of plastic. Wow, those are big numbers. And really, as you can imagine, just scaling it up, it has a huge impact on our environment. So tell me a little bit more, Ali, about Grenova today, what you guys are focused on, and really kind of the day-to-day of the operation.
Sure, yeah. The stage of the Grenova, today, I would say is it's been discovered, it's been proven. Now getting to the next phase. By next phase means when Grenova was founded in the first place, we focused on, making the industry change, making this cultural shift. It's not going to be an easy task, but it has to happen. It has to find early adopters, but it has to be applied across the board, something that everybody use. So we start focusing on a pipette tip, which was I refer to it as the straw of the industry. So how straws are banned right now.
Yeah.
I refer to pipette tips as a straw of the industry, that every lab uses pipette tips in order to be able to run their operations. And I said, if we can provide a solution that safely wash and reuse those pipette tips in the very sensitive lab environment, then we've achieved the goal. But that's not the ultimate goal for Grenova. Grenova stands for green innovation, means beyond pipette tips. So this is what we've done. Over the past 7 years, we have achieved quite a bit of implementation of our products across the lab, cutting down on these these high number of pipette tips. But now we are expanding to other consumables, which is the future of the Grenova. So there's a new products coming out that is going to wash plates, macro-tire plates. So we were moving away from straws of the industry to to the plates and cups of the industry. That's what I would call it. And from there, expand to eventually, the ultimate goal is to every lab will become 100% sustainable on the plastic consumable side. Means they're not going to stop using plastic. They're just not going to discard it. Just going to treat it the same as a glass and Teflon and be able to wash and reuse it with the Grenova technologies are embedded throughout the facility.
So Ali, what happens today? Is it like the providers that collect the waste from labs? Do you have people kind of put it in a separate bag and then you guys collect it and it goes through a process? How does it work?
No, not at the moment. At the moment, what we do is we provide technology and devices to the labs that they can do it on their on their own. So imagine let's put it this way. Instead of putting your dishes at the door and somebody picks it up and clean and bring it back, you have a dishwasher at the house, right? Like, and then that's the last thing I want, because the technology we have is way beyond like, like dishwasher, and you can actually clean and sanitize things. But it's that of a model. Like part of the workflow is, instead of buying and discarding, or kind of like, just putting it for somebody else to take care of it, every lab manage their own consumables by washing and reusing and stuff, like, filling up the landfill or filling up the biohazard bins.
Yeah. And, it's been a really interesting time to work in the biotech space. I mean, we've lived through an interesting moment, and I'd just be curious to hear more about Grenova's journey over the last couple of years with the pandemic, and how that impacted the business, perhaps offered challenges, but maybe opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the journey goes, talking about like 7-8 years of journey in like in a matter of like few minutes, it's almost impossible, but I can give you a snapshot.
Yeah.
So as just like any other successful company, the journey is gone through like quite a bit of like overcoming challenges. And when Grenova was founded in 2014 and the product was released to the market in 2015, even though sustainability and being green was the topic, there was no funding behind it. There was no true like push and effort. It was just more of a buzzword.
Right.
So implementing these solutions into the labs, I quickly discovered that it's not going to be an easy journey, but you need that early adopters. Those early adopters will help you like get to the next early adopters and go on and on. So, and luckily, like with the Grenova products, the way we position it and the way the solution was offered was not just on a plastic waste reduction, but also cost reduction. If you wash and
Right.
reuse something, you get the benefit of like savings. And this is a kind of like quite a bit of spending for the pipette tips, for the labs, that they were purchasing these pipette tips, discard them after one-time use, and not realizing like how much of the operation expense like spend on these consumables after one-time discard, after one-time use, and disposing after one-time or disposing after one-time use. So for me, like quickly I recognized that beside the environmental aspects is a cost benefit. So finding early adopters like that they kind of like was interested in a cost reduction. From there, we go through the journey as far as like getting to a pandemic. During the pandemic, many labs like stop operation, but then the ones start operating, they start running into like supply chain. Then the supply
Right.
chain like comes into place, like so the value propositions like for product from like from sustainability, from cost reductions, and a supply chain is been shifted constantly back and forth based on like what the market needed, what the customers like would want to benefit from. But the ultimate goal for the company has always been sustainability. We want to
Right.
make the environment like have a meaningful impact to the environment, help the industry to be green. Now, at the moment there is like a major shift into the economy. There is like there's a downside to the economy. Companies are struggling. Like unfortunately, we're hearing a lot of like news about layoffs and like downsizing and such. And again, this is the one like now Grenova, like even though the mission is reducing plastic waste, we can benefit the labs like by helping them to cut down costs so they can save jobs. They
Yeah.
can like be able to kind of like minimize like the expenses and be able to make it through like this downside. So the journey has always been kind of listen to the market, listen to the customers, and offer the value proposition based on like what we offer,
Yeah.
and
And where the market
pivot
is.
and pivot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the pivoting is like as part of the journey, I have to say.
And Ali, I mean, it's been an amazing story. You've been going with this thing since kind of around 2014 and onwards. Tell me a little bit about what brings you joy from what you're working on.
Yeah, so I mean, it's for me, making the impact and kind of seeing the results of the work from like not just me, but for a whole team that support me. But but beside that, like what actually really like excite me day to day is coming to work, or kind of like just even on the field or so, seeing the opportunities and the job we've created for the team members, seeing like the smiles, or kind of like the culture, like they participate as part of like the environment that they work in. seeing that, like, I mean, that's to me, that's quite a bit of joy that from this idea, the outcome of it was a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities to be
Yeah.
to be supporting other people's families. But then at the same time, when I visit customers or clients and seeing, like, them talk about like the true value added to their operation, if it was from the like, hey, we met our sustainability targets, or we cut down costs, or what, your product, like, helped us, like, mitigate through the supply chain shortage because we were just desperate to, like, to be able to get, like, get consumables in on hands. These are like a big joys of, like, we did make a difference, we made
Right.
the impact, both from, like, internally creating jobs, but also, like, helping labs to be able to, like, operate. And you can't put a price on this, like, so this is a part, like, that it keeps me going on this vision and a mission of, like, keep on going, because uh you know I've put everything I've had into this company, this mission, this vision multiple
Yeah.
times, and went through so many ups and downs, and I always, like, focus on, like, what is the mission and what's the vision, and that's what drives me day to day, and the whole team
Yeah.
too.
No, I love it. And I think also just being honest about that, where you have the ups and the downs, that you kind of reshift the focus and you answer the needs for the market, but you stay true to that kind of core premise and core thesis going forward is really, really nice. Well, Ali, I mean, with that in mind, with you and the Grenova team always trying to make an impact, what's on the docket for 2023?
Well, 2023 is going to be kind of for us, like, that revolutionary year, like, that we are launching this new product, as I said, mentioned about, like, the cleaning, like, the other consumables, which is roughly about like another 12 to 13% of the total plastic waste coming from the labs. So that's a huge impact. But also, uh, we have actually, like, revamped the whole team in a way to be able to build a company that can scale, not only, like, to just in the US. We are expanding into overseas. We're actually
Mhm.
having teams now, like, into Europe. We're looking to, like, creating, like, headquarter, like, in the European countries. So for us, it's like, kind of, we are already a global customer base, but actually having footprint across the globe, like, and having more partners, and be able to, like, kind of be the solution that the industry, like, lab industry, look into and says, I'm tired of spending money on consumables. I'm tired of, like, filling up the landfill. Grenova, can you help us? And we are creating that branding and that team and that recognition, like, within the industry, to be able to, like, be that go-to person, go-to company, like, be able to address that solution.
Is there something about the Grenova solution that basically tests the cleanliness before it's reused again? Or how
So
does that work? Yeah.
so all of our products, just like, anything else that the labs are implementing, it gets validated. Means, like, when they implement it in the lab, it gets validated against, like, what is the norm. So the norm right now is, like, you use a brand new consumables, and you run it, and your results are great. Now, like, Grenova is a validated exact same way. Like, you can get the same results, same performance, same quality as a brand new one. And that's what the validation process is, seeing the same results between something that's been washed versus something versus brand new. And in some case, we start getting reports back from, like, from our clients that the washed, actually, consumables are outperforming the brand new ones. So, and this is a big achievement for us. So, can we add a fourth value proposition to our product, that it even improve the quality? Because, many of us, we receive things from, like, they're showing of the plastic, they're wrapped, and we just open them up and says, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna, like, assume this is clean. Everything
Yeah.
come from a factory settings, everything come from, like,
Yeah.
injection moldings, like, so
Yeah.
nobody ever questions, like, the cleanness of it, but it's a cultural thing, as far as, like, if something is wrapped, it must be clean.
I know exactly what you're referring to. I mean, I used to run a large company that owned warehouses around the world, and we moved laboratory equipment all the time. And I always thought about that. I wonder if they know exactly where all of these pipettes were actually housed.
Yeah, go throughout
Exactly.
the process, like, what process they go through and such. So, I mean, this is what I'm hoping, like, what the industry is going to recognize is, like, because beside the, like, waste reduction, cost reduction, mitigating supply chain, there is the aspects about quality. of something that you can control, you can clean and maintain that cleanness over and over again within your own facility. And that's what makes it 100% sustainable. The sustainable model is like, when you can control the full circular, like, kind of motion, circular like practice.
Ali, I mean, everyone is talking about sustainability as being kind of the driver for the economy. And so I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to talk to you. Where's the best place for someone to get in touch with you?
Everywhere. Like, I try to be everywhere, but it's not just me. Grenova is more than just me. It's the whole team. So we are at the conferences, like, at the big conferences like SLAS, AACC, like, such a large pharmaceutical conferences and such. But the best way to, like, if anybody wants to reach out to us, is go through our website, and we have a contact us. And if somebody says, like, I want to talk to Ali directly, like, my team will, like, bring it to me directly. I will talk to them, or kind of like talk to our team members. But we are creating awareness. We are presenting, like, data. We are publishing informations. But the best thing for us is you see the Grenova products in the labs who are our valued partners. Yeah. And that speaks a lot. And all it is, like, you just talk to the lab, like, who has it, and says, hey, tell me about this, and then get in touch with us. But yeah, you can visit us at our website, like, which is grenovasolutions.com, and contact us. That's the quickest way.
Excellent. I mean, it's a great story, Ali. And I think that really companies like this are going to be the bedrock of the economy as we build a new foundation going forward. We've been speaking to Ali Safavi. He's the founder, president, and CEO of Grenova. Great to chat with you, and we look forward to having you back on the Uncaged Show in the future.
Thank you so much, Ben. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.